Me and my friend, we was walking down the street in the middle of the street, and we wasn't causing any harm to nobody. We had no weapons on us at all. We were just walking, having a conversation. No cars were blowing at us or honking at us like we was holding up traffic or anything like that. It was around 1:40, 2 o'clock. We were walking down the street, empty street. We were just walking down, minding our own business. We both headed home, and the officer is approaching us, and as he pulled up on the side of us, he didn't say freeze, halt, or nothing like we were committing a crime. He said, get the F on the sidewalk. Now, a police officer squad car pulled up, and when he pulled up, these was his exact words. He said, get the F on the sidewalk. And we told the officer we was not but a minute away from our destination, and we would shortly be out the street. We was having a conversation.
So when did you first realize something was happening?
Well, this was a little bit after 11:30-ish. A friend of mine actually woke me up out of a nap. He comes over, I steps outside with him for like 3 to 5 minutes. After that, I comes in, say something to my fiance in the kitchen, then I goes into the bedroom. Within the 2 minutes in the bedroom, I hear an altercation outside. And
what did you hear?
Just some heavy struggle, you know, like a strong voice, like a strong voice. I'm not sure, you know, what words exchange exactly, but just a strong voice.
He went about his way for about 1 or 2 seconds as we continued to walk, and then he reversed his truck, his car, and in a manner to where it almost hit us, and it blocked both lanes off the way he turned his car. So he pulled up on the side of us. He tried to thrust his door open, but we were so close to it that it ricocheted off us and it bounced back to him. And I guess that, you know, got him a little upset. And at that time, he reached out the window. He didn't get out the car. He just reached his arm out the window and grabbed my friend around his neck and was trying to, as he was trying to choke my friend, and he was trying to get away.
And why were you there?
I was on my way to pick up an employee. She lived right in front of where it happened.
And tell us what you saw as you came into that area.
Okay, as I come around the corner, I hear tires squeaking, and as I get closer, I see Michael and the officer like wrestling through the window. Michael was pushing, like trying to get away from the officer, and the officer was trying to pull him in.
Tiffany, how far away from the police car were you when you first started looking at this?
I was really close, like I was feet away, like can't say exactly. I was about 10, 20 feet away from the car.
So were there any cars between you and the police car?
Not at all.
Okay, so you had a clear line of sight of that car?
Yes.
So take me back to the moment when you see a tussle at the police cruiser. What was going on? What happened?
Okay, well, from my point of view, I could not tell exactly what was going on, but it just looked as if he was trying to pull him almost into the car.
Who pulled? The officer pulled Michael into
Brown.
The car.
It just looked like he was trying to do such. And
I heard the tires squeaking on the truck, and as I get closer is when I see them tussling through the window. Like the kid was pulling off and the cop was like pulling in.
So what'd you do then?
Actually, so when I heard the altercation, I looks out the window and I see somebody at Ferguson police window, some kind of tussle going on here. So,
so you saw somebody at the window of the police car?
Yes.
The police officer was still in the vehicle?
Yeah, inside the vehicle. So, like I said, it was some kind of tussle going on.
And you said there was a tussle. Was there, how long did it go on for that you saw?
Seconds. 10 seconds, I should say. So,
did you see
I didn't,
what the tussle was around? Did you see was one person being pulled in or pulled out?
No, he was just exactly at the window. I mean, it may look like he was trying to get away or something.
You couldn't tell exactly what was going on?
Yeah, but, you know, I just seen some kind of tussle going through the window.
Okay.
He's at an angle where we're so close to his door and him that when he tries to thrust the door open aggressively, it doesn't come an inch out before it strikes both of us. His arm extended out the window, grabbed my friend around the neck. He didn't say step back or anything like that. He started to pull my friend into the window. So the officer's trying to pull him in, and he's pulling away from the officer. He never once attempted to grab for this officer's weapon. He's still holding my friend with one arm, and now with the other hand, he's pointing his weapon. The second time he says, "I'll shoot," it wasn't even a second later before the gun just went off.
That just didn't look right for them to be wrestling, but the first gunshot came from the window, so like I could start getting out the way because the shots just came after that.
And at no time the officer said that he was going to do anything until he pulled out his weapon. His weapon was drawn, and he said, "I'll shoot you," or "I'm going to shoot." And in the same moment, the first shot went off, and we looked at him. He was shot, and there was blood coming from him. And the officer let go. And that's how we were able to run at the same time. The first car I see, I ducked behind for cover because I feared for my life. And we took off running. And as we took off running, I ducked and hid for my life because I was feared for my life. And I hid by the first car that I saw. My friend, he kept running, and he told me to keep running because he feared for me too.
He also had a friend also. He runs on the side of the car because all of a sudden they just takes off running. Whatever after the tussle,
right?
They just takes off running. Okay. So like I said, his friend takes off running, and like I said, the parked car was on the sidewalk, and like I said, it's probably like 5 feet away from the police cruiser in the middle of the street. So like I said, they just takes off running.
At this time after the shot, the kid breaks away and he started running away from the cop.
Pull onto the parking lot right beside where the cop car was, and that's when Michael kind of broke away and started running down the street.
You know, Brown being a bigger fella, that didn't seem to have been working, so of course he got away, and it just seemed to have upset the officer.
So as he was running, the officer was trying to get out of the car, and once he got out the car, he pursued my friend, but his weapon was drawn. Now, he didn't see any weapon drawn at him or anything like that, us going for no weapon. His weapon was already drawn when he got out the car. He shot again, and once my friend felt that shot, he turned around and he put his hands in the air. I'm scared. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand why this officer is shooting his weapon at us. And I'm watching the officer. He's pursuing my friend now that he fired another shot. It struck my friend in the back. Then my friend stopped running. His hands immediately went in the air, and he turned around.
And I see the officer gets out of his car, emerge, and just immediately starts shooting.
The cop follows him and kept shooting, and the kid body jerked as if he was hit. And after his body jerked, he turned around, he puts his hands up.
And then what happened?
Got out his man and just started chasing after the boy. I'm hearing shots fired. Clearly none of them hit him, but one I think did graze him, as they say on the autopsy report. And at the end, he just turned around.
The officer gets out of his vehicle and he pursues him. As he's following him, he's shooting at him. And Michael's body jerks as if he was hit. And then he turns around and he put his hands up.
And he started to get down, but the officer still approached with his weapon drawn, and he fired several more shots. And my friend died. Towards the officer face to face. He started to tell the officer that he was unarmed and that you should stop shooting me. Before he can get his second sentence out, the officer fired several more shots into his head and chest areas. And he fell dramatically in the fatal position. I did not hear once he yelled, "Freeze, stop," or "Halt." It was just horrible to watch.
And the cop just continues to walk up on him and shoot him until he goes all the way down.
And the officer continued to walk up on him and shoot him until he goes all the way down to the ground.
So when he turned towards the cop is when he let off the most shots.
So that's when I decided, okay, I'm gonna run outside with my phone and see what I could get. So I runs outside so quick. About the time I gets outside, he's already turned around, facing the officer. He's balled up. He have his arms like under his stomach, and he was like halfway down, like he was going down. And the officer lets out about 3 or 4 shots at him. So like I said, just like the body, I took a few pictures in the video, but how his body is on the ground, just like with his arms tucked in, that's how he got shot or whatever. But like I said, before he went down, he was already like this, and he took like 1 or 2 steps going towards the officer, and he, like I said, let go about 3 or 4 more shots at him. And
you're saying it's your impression that he was essentially falling down onto the ground or going down onto the ground, not because there is an account by a friend of or allegedly a friend of the officer, who said that the officer is claiming, and sources with the investigation back this up, is what the officer's claim is that Mike Brown was running toward the officer. Did you see him running toward the officer in any way?
No, not after when he was running away. No, not at all. Like I said, by the time I come outside, I'm thinking that he's now hit after I seen the officer shooting at him while he was running away. So I'm thinking that he's hit because now he's turned around now like this, like he was going down. It didn't even look like that he was giving up. It just looked like, you know, oh, I'm hit, you know, I'm gonna go down now. That's what it looked like.
That was your impression?
Yeah, yeah.
So from what you saw, there weren't hands up or anything. The hands were around
I
the
really,
waist.
that's the thing. I didn't see no hands up. If he did, I probably just missed it from going out from my bedroom, going outside.
Right, there was a gap in what you saw because you were moving.
Yeah, and on top of that, and there was also a gap from the officer pausing as he was shooting. Because like I said, I'm in the window, and he shoots a couple of times. And by the time I gets outside, he's shooting again.
So when he turned and faced him and put his hands up, was he standing still at that point?
Yes.
And then, do you know how many more shots you think the officer fired after he stood and put his hands up?
Several. I didn't count them, but it was several. He got on his radio. I don't know what he said, but he got on his radio. And then, like, at that time, it was another cop pulling up.
And did the officer who shot Michael then approach Michael's body?
He just paced back and forth in front of his body, like,
okay.
right by him.
So now let's go to the point where I hear your voice. You sound really upset.
I haven't even lived there a month. I had just moved there out of my parents' home, and to see something like this outside of my window as I'm trying to go to work, it's traumatizing.
Yeah, it hurt him a lot. I see it in his eyes, it hurt him a lot. It was definitely like being shot like an animal. It was almost like putting someone to execution.